You worked so hard for it. I love that. There's part of us here, so that way we can put it on you. There's some,
Good job. Good job,
Are you
love.
gonna cut the cord?
So,
Okay.
do I have a story for y'all? Brush my teeth and wash my face and moisturize it. Put a little lip gloss on so I can feel a little normal. And soon I am going to put my nightgown on that I packed with me, just so I can feel extra comfy. I'm just getting really tired of this hospital gown, and I just want to wear something from home.
See the way that I have changed when I embrace you, baby, let's give it up. Let's live it up. Cause it was bad without you, but we start fresh. You was mad, but I ran to you. Let's start fresh. Now I'm trying to be the man for you. Let's start fresh. Took a flight and a train for you. Let's start fresh. Flight 99.
Hey you guys, I hope you all are doing well, and I hope you guys can hear me well, because I don't have a mic nor my headphones. But anywho, we're gonna make it work. So a lot of people have been asking me when I will come out with part 3 of my birth vlog, and I haven't really been able to start it just because just Marley's keeping us busy, and we have 2 kids now, and so just been super busy and just trying to heal. I do want to tell you guys like my birth story and all of that, but I will do that once I get home and make sure that I'm plugged up to like a mic or some headphones so you guys can hear me clearly. But right now we're sitting outside of the grocery store. My husband just went inside because I wanted some sparkling water, so yeah. But we just left one of my postpartum OB appointments, and it went well. I just asked her to prescribe me some more medicine for the hemorrhoid pains, because those have been it's been very painful down there. And it's just frustrating. Like, if you've ever had hemorrhoids, it's just the worst, most uncomfortable pain ever. And it's just hella annoying. And, I mean, if you've given birth, then you know how it feels. Like, it's just fucking ridiculous. But, so yeah, she prescribed me. They won't give me any more Norco. But she prescribed me some more ibuprofen and Tylenol, which I don't fucking need. Like, I don't know why she prescribed that to me. I told her like that it wasn't working, but whatever. And she also prescribed me some kind of cream with a steroid in it to help with to help clear the hemorrhoid. And I mean, I'm hoping that it'll work. It's going on week 3 with the fucking hemorrhoid, and it hurts. And my mama told me to get preparation H, and that's supposed to be a pain reliever and help heal the hemorrhoid, but it's not doing anything for the pain. So yeah, I don't know if it's healing it, but it's not doing anything for the pain. And that's about it for right now. And so, like I said, I will tell you guys step by step what really happened in the hospital during birth and labor once I get home. Deuces! Are you up? Somebody just woke up with his nap.
Now I'm trying to be the man for you. Let's start fresh. Took a flight in a train for you.
Hey y'all, I'm back. So, I'm just gonna see how much of this I can record before I get interrupted by my family. So, I'm just going to start off with, well, I said I would tell you guys step by step or whatever what really went down with my labor and delivery. So basically, in my last video, you guys seen my husband and I driving to the hospital. My water broke around 1:30 p.m. and that was after I did that morning that I gave birth. That I did a 10-minute inducing labor exercise, and then I did the birthing ball for an hour or so right afterwards, and then I was resting for a while. And so my husband and I had planned on taking a walk that day, and so when I got up and I got myself dressed and I was going to get my husband to tell him that I'm ready for our walk. And then that's when my water broke. I was in the kitchen getting my water bottle together and everything, and my water broke. And so told my husband, I'm like, I think my water broke, but I'm not sure. But I have some liquid rolling down my leg and it's not blood. And so my OB told me if it's liquid going down your leg, then 9 times out of 10, it's your water. And so, yeah. Then I started feeling like mild contractions. They weren't painful, so I thought they were like Braxton Hicks. I don't know. Like, I never experienced that with my son. I never experienced my water breaking with him. And, yeah, so I didn't know. Okay, so I'm going to take a minute while I'm breastfeeding just to clarify some things, because that last part sounded kind of weird. When I said that I didn't experience my water breaking, I mean I didn't experience feeling my water breaking. Obviously my water had to break in order to give birth to my son, but I didn't feel it because I had already had the epidural. And so I was numb from the waist down, like I had dead legs. And so yeah, the doctors ended up breaking my water for me, and I didn't feel it. And so me experiencing my water breaking with Marley was new for me. I did experience contractions with him before I got the epidural though. Anyway, we drove to the hospital. Water was coming. I didn't know that your water continues to break throughout labor and like throughout contractions and stuff. I didn't know that. And so yeah, Water kept coming. We went to the hospital. It's like literally a ghost town because there's no visitors or nothing. Nobody really allowed in the women's and children's hospital. And so it's only your spouse or your partner or whoever you bring with you. You can only bring one person with you. And so we got up to the triage's office after going through security. I seen the lady, the nurse was like, do you feel like you need to use the bathroom? And so I was like, sure, like I'll try or whatever. And so I used the restroom, and then I seen like a drop of blood, and it like made me nervous because I didn't know what was going on. But she told me that was like normal, that you can see like a bloody, they call it a bloody show or something like that. I don't know. But I just seen like a drop of blood. And so, and so literally soon after I changed into like my hospital robe and things like that, I started feeling like hardcore contractions. And the show was literally on the road. Like, it was literally on the road. And so I don't have my phone sitting on a tripod right now, so it's gonna be a little shaky. But anyways, and so I started feeling contractions, and then they checked my cervix to see if I dilated, and I was only like 4 centimeters dilated by the time I got into the hospital. And I guess this was about around, we don't live far from the hospital, so I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm guessing it was like around 2 o'clock or something. But when they checked my cervix. So she checked my cervix. I was like 4 centimeters dilated. And so then once they had my delivery room together, they put me in my room. They transferred me from the triage's office into my room. And I just kept feeling contractions, and they weren't like back to back, but they were close enough to I was just like, like this is uncomfortable. And so I got the epidural, and my veins were not like popping out, so they poked me like they finally found a vein like on the 3rd try, and they had to like bring like the top notch doctor of like, I don't know what they're called, but like the supervisor or whatever, the person that's really good at poking people, I don't know. But anyways, the nurses couldn't find a vein, and so she came in, and on the 3rd time they finally were able to put a needle in me so I can get an IV. Soon after I got the IV, I was able to get the epidural. Yeah. Okay. Soon after I got the epidural, I was feeling contractions, but it took the edge off of the contractions. Like, it wasn't like, usually before you get the epidural, when you have contractions, it's usually just like pow, like it comes very strong, and then like it eases up as the contraction goes along. But with the epidural, the contractions, some people, he can come, just come in, I'll pause. So, shoot, my eye. Okay, so after, I don't remember where I stopped off at, but let me just backtrack for a second. So with my son, when I got the epidural, soon after I got the epidural, I didn't feel anything for the longest. Like, I was even able to like go to sleep and rest with him. I think I probably slept for like an hour or two, And then as it got closer to time for me to push, I felt like some contractions in my stomach, and that's after I got the epidural. But before I got the epidural, I felt the contractions in my stomach, my back, and my bottom with my son. Now with Marley, after I got the epidural, it took like the sharp pain away from like my stomach, because I was feeling the contractions everywhere with her also. But when I got the epidural, I didn't feel the contractions in my stomach and my back, but I did feel it down in my vagina area. And so so when I was still feeling them in my vagina, that's when I knew like the epidural was not like strong like the one I had with my son. And it's funny because a couple months before I went into birth, one of the moms told me that there's literally like a walk-in epidural that they give you here at Sutter Medical. And I was like, a walk-in epidural? Like, I've never heard of that, because with my son, when I had the epidural, my legs were dead. Like, I couldn't feel my legs at all. And they had to lift my legs for me and everything. Thank you, buddy. And so yeah, I was like, there's an epidural out that you can like still feel your legs, and like if you want, you can like walk around. And that's basically what I had with Marley, because I can feel my legs. I was able to move my legs and my feet and everything, and I still felt contractions in my vagina area, and I still felt horrible pressure down there, but I didn't feel the contractions in my stomach and my back. And so it got to the point where my contractions were like 3 minutes apart, and I knew they were 3 minutes apart because I kept looking at the clock every time, and I'm like, like I need something strong, like I need more epidural power. And so they give you like a button to push or whatever. And so I was pushing the button and I was feeling the medicine go through, but I'm like, look, I need something stronger. And so the lady that does the epidurals came in. I can't really pronounce the name. It starts with an A, the type of doctor. So don't judge my life. But anyways, she came in and she gave me like a stronger dose of the epidural. And then it did make my legs, no, don't do that. It did make my legs numb after she gave me the stronger dose. It made my legs numb. It made my feet numb. Excuse me. However, and so by then, like the nurses had to help me. They had to lift my legs, and my husband had to lift my legs and stuff like that. And so, but I was still feeling pressure in my vagina. Like my legs and my feet got numb, but I was still feeling pressure. And after a while, like the numbness of my leg and my feet, don't be loud. The numbness started to go away. And yeah, and then it just got to a point where I was feeling so much pressure down there. Like I felt like she was coming with every contraction. And so I was like, I told my husband and I told the nurses, I was like, look, I feel like I need to push, because I was feeling like a gigantic poop was about to come through. And like, I just felt like I needed to push. I can't really explain it. And like women that have babies without the epidural know what I'm talking about. Like, it literally feels like you have to poop, and then that's when you just know, like, you feel like you need to push, because it feels like something is trying to come through. It feels like your baby's trying to get through. And so then that's when they check my cervix, and I I skipped the part. They checked my cervix like soon after I got the epidural, and I was about 7 centimeters. And then this time around, they checked my cervix again, and I was ready to push. Hence, that's why I was feeling that way. And so I basically, after that, I pushed for like hours, and Marley was head down, but she wasn't face down. Like her face was facing upward. So just like her head was down, but inside of me, she was looking up at my stomach. And so they were trying to get her to like flip. And so I pushed in like so many different positions, and they rotated my body in different positions to try to get her to like turn around. But yeah, she wasn't having it. And like I pushed for hours. I can't even, like, with Majesty, I pushed for like 90 minutes. But with Marley, I pushed for like 5 to 6 hours. It was so exhausting. Like, I was falling asleep in between contractions, and I had to get an oxygen mask and everything because I was just so exhausted. And honestly, I'm just glad that I didn't have to get a C-section, because I thought that I was going to have to get one after all of that pushing, because she just would not budge. But they kept, like, my husband and the nurses were like seeing her head, because they were like, I see her hair, but she just wasn't like trying to just come all the way through. And so after a while, she finally like was crowning, and then I was able to like push her. I think I pushed her head through, I'm not sure. And then the doctor had to use forceps ultimately to pull her on out. And yeah, and soon after she came out, like I could feel her body going through. I felt the burning ring of fire. It was horrible. Like, I do not wish birth pain on anybody. It's like the most horrible pain ever in my life that I've ever experienced. But not trying to scare anybody out there, sorry. But just for me, I'm just being honest, it's like it was the worst pain. And don't put that around over your face. Excuse me. So yeah, I felt the burning ring of fire, and I was feeling her body come out, and it was just, in my head, I was just like, can you please get the heck out of me, because this burns and it hurts so bad. And then when the doctor finally pulled her out with my help with pushing, I felt like such a relief, like the burning sensation like went away like that. And then yeah, like I felt like it was just a big relief. Like her body, like I could feel my stomach like flop, and I could just feel them pull her out or whatever. And then it was just a lovely experience, because I was able to hear her cry when she came out. She was crying, and I was like, thank God that I could hear her, because be quiet. Thank you. Because with Majesty, when I pushed him out, he was not breathing. They had to do CPR on him, and so I didn't get to hear him cry. And they weren't able to put him on my belly on my chest as soon as he came out because of that. But with her, she was crying, and they put her on me. My husband cut the umbilical cord, and then like right after he cut the umbilical cord, what am I trying to say? Soon after they cut the umbilical cord, I was able to nurse her. Like, she started nursing immediately after she came out. And so that's that. That is my story. Nothing too dramatic, but I mean, it was dramatic for me, but yeah, it wasn't that bad. And all of the nurses and the doctors, they were very nice and loving and caring, like everything that I prayed about. And yeah, they were safe and healthy. And yeah, and Marley's crying, so I'm gonna wrap this video up. And I thank you guys for watching my birth vlogs and being patient for this third video. And I appreciate you guys just visiting my channel. And I will talk to you all in my next video. One love.